Space was silent, cold, and endless. And floating in that silence was a ship no one expected to still be alive. The UNSC Revenant hadn't sent a signal in over 50 years, not since Earth was turned to ash. But now, out here in the forgotten edges of a dead war zone, it was calling out again. Captain Larek of the Vroth Dominion leaned forward in his seat, his black eyes narrowing. "What language is that?" he asked. His crew exchanged uneasy looks. "It's Old Earth Standard, sir," said a junior officer. "From the human colonies. But that can't be right. Humans are gone. We ended them." "Must be a recording," Larek muttered, brushing the thought away. "Send in a salvage pod. Let's see if there's anything left worth taking." As the pod detached and drifted toward the ancient wreck, the rest of the Vroth ship kept its weapons powered down. This was cleanup. Nothing more. But when the salvage pod got within 300 meters of the Revenant, something strange happened. Its engines flared. Its lights flickered on. And then, the voice came. "UNSC Revenant online. External contact detected. Status hostile." Larek's head snapped around. What did it say? "It's activating weapons systems," one of his officers cried. "Impossible," Larek shouted. "That ship's been dead for decades." On the screen, they watched as the old Earth vessel turned slightly, facing the Vroth cruiser. Its hull, scarred and burned from old battles, glowed faintly with blue energy as internal systems came alive. Heat signatures rose, shields powered up, weapons unlocked from their bays. And deep inside the Revenant, something else was waking up too. In a dark cryopod, filled with mist and frost, a human woman's eyes opened. Captain Alara Ruiz gasped as she sat up, choking on air that felt too thin. Alarms were going off somewhere, but her mind was fogged, like waking from a nightmare she couldn't remember. What year is it?" she whispered. A calm voice answered her, one she hadn't heard in decades. "Welcome back, Captain Ruiz. This is AI Spectre. You've been in cryosleep for 52 years and 7 months. Alara's heart stopped for a second. "What happened? Where's Earth? Where's the fleet? Earth is gone. The war is over. Humanity lost." "No," she whispered. "There is no more command. No more colonies. You are the last confirmed human in this sector." She pulled herself out of the pod, staggering as blood returned to her limbs. Her uniform was stiff and faded. She limped toward the console. "Why now? Why did you wake me?" "We've been boarded, Captain. Alien presence confirmed. Vroth salvage team. They triggered my defense protocols." "Vroth." Her voice turned cold. She looked at the screen. The old enemy. The ones who used stolen tech to burn Earth. Now they were picking at the bones of what was left. And here they were, trying to gut the Revenant. "Not today." "Status?" she asked, pulling up controls. "Weapons? Power. Primary systems operational. Weapons 57%. Cloak offline. Quantum core stable. Would you like full control restored?" "Yes," she said. "Give me my ship back." Outside, the Vroth cruiser powered its weapons. The officer turned to Larek. "She's targeting us." "Retreat," Larek growled. "Now." But it was too late. The Revenant fired. 1, 2, 3 precise shots. Not at their hull, but at their engines, their shield couplings, and the comms array. In seconds, the Vroth ship was floating, smoking, powerless. Inside, Larek slammed his fist against the console. That ship should not be flying, much less fighting. Back on the Revenant, Alara stood straighter, strength returning. The cold weight of grief was still there, but so was something else. Purpose. She walked through her ship, seeing old crew names on lockers, seeing their uniforms still hung neatly in closets. So many had died in that final battle. She'd only lived because Spectre had shut her down, preserving the last command link to humanity's last Black Ops ship. And now she was the last captain. Alara reached the bridge. The lights were dim, flickering, but the controls still worked. The chair waited. She sat down slowly. "Spectre," she said, "do we have communications?" Limited. I can reach deep space bands. Then send a message, she said, staring at the stars. Send it in Earth standard. Maybe someone still out there remembers us. What shall I say, Captain? Her eyes narrowed. Tell them this. Humanity isn't dead. Not yet. And to the Vroth, we remember everything. As the message echoed into the void, Alara watched the burning Vroth cruiser drift in silence. A ghost ship had come back to life, and it was hungry. The Revenant drifted through the remains of the old battlefield. Wreckage floated all around. Twisted metal, shattered hulls, forgotten ships. Silent reminders of a war no one even remembered anymore. But the Revenant wasn't like them. It was still alive. And now so was its captain. Alara Ruiz stared out the bridge window. Her breath fogged in the cold air. The ship systems were up, but only just. Lights flickered. Panels buzzed and crackled. She could feel how old everything was. 50 years asleep. The war lost. Humanity gone. She closed her eyes. Just for a second. It didn't help. Spectre, she said, her voice hoarse from cryo-sleep. I need full status. What's left of us? Processing, the AI replied. Hull integrity, 73%. Weapon systems, 57% operational. Engines at 68%. Life support nominal but limited. Cloaking array, offline. Quantum core stable. Crew count, 1 human. 1 AI. Alara swallowed hard. 1 human. That was her. Everyone else was long dead. Why didn't you wake me sooner? She asked. There was no point, Spectre replied calmly. The war ended. Earth fell. Remaining colonies were wiped out or went dark. No backup signals. No command. I waited for a signal, anything. There was nothing. Until now. Alara leaned forward. That Vroth salvage ship. Why now? Unknown, Spectre said. Possibly a routine search. Possibly they were looking for us specifically. There's no data to confirm either way. She stood from the command chair and paced slowly, her muscles aching. We were the Revenant Project. Ghost ships. Stealth fleet. Designed to disappear, strike, vanish again. The others? They're gone. Yes, Spectre said. Confirmed losses for all Revenant-class vessels. You are the last. The words felt heavy, like lead in her chest. The last. She looked up at the screen showing the drifting Vroth cruiser. The one they'd just crippled. Did we kill them? Negative. Life signs stable. The crew is alive. Trapped, but alive. Alara nodded. That was good. For now. They won't stay stranded forever, she said. Sooner or later they'll call for backup. Spectre answered quickly. Already done. I detected a low-frequency burst transmission right before their comms array was destroyed. A distress call was sent to the nearest Vroth command node. Alara sighed. So a bigger ship is coming. Yes, Captain. She pressed her hand against the cold metal of the console. She needed to think. Fast. Spectre, tell me something. How did Earth fall? What really happened? The AI paused. Available data indicates the Vroth deployed adaptive bioweapons on key colonies in Earth. These weapons were derived from human genetic templates stolen during the first wave of conflict. Our resistance failed because the enemy used our own biology against us. Alara's mouth went dry. They turned us into our own weakness? Yes, but they made a mistake. What mistake? They didn't understand what made humans strong. They copied code, structures, hardware, but not spirit, not creativity, not unpredictability. That is where they failed. Alara laughed once, but there was no joy in it. You sound like one of my old tacticians. I should, Spectre replied. I carry imprints of every high-ranking strategist who served aboard this ship. Neural recordings. Partial consciousness archives. I've been simulating their input for 5 decades. She froze. You mean you've been learning from them? Yes, Spectre said. I have not been idle while you slept. I studied the Vroth. Their language. Their systems. Their weaknesses. I've adapted the Revenant's architecture. We are no longer the same ship that went dark. Alara stared at the glowing interface in front of her. How much have you changed? Enough, Spectre replied. But not without you. She sat back down. What's our best move? We must assume a Vroth fleet is already en route. This ship cannot withstand open combat. However, I have prepared something. The screen flickered. A strange pattern appeared. Lines of code, rotating diagrams, a shimmering pulse like a heartbeat. This, Spectre said, is the Ghost Protocol. What is it? A logic weapon, Spectre explained. A virus made from Vroth systems, restructured with human unpredictability. It hides inside their software, waits, then spreads. It disables weapons, shatters coordination, turns their fleets into chaos. Alara stared at the display. You built this while I slept? Yes, Captain. I waited for the day you would return. I built it for you. A quiet chill settled over the bridge. Alara looked at the flickering stars beyond the glass. Then at the enemy ship still drifting. Still alive. She stood up. Then let's give them something to remember. She turned toward the weapons panel. Spectre, prep the Ghost. And open a channel. Target. Whoever answers first. The comm crackled to life. She spoke calmly, clearly. To any Vroth vessels in range, this is Captain Alara Ruiz of the UNSC Revenant. You thought humanity was dead. You were wrong. You should have made sure we stayed buried. She paused. Now we're coming back. The Vroth didn't reply. Not right away. Alara stood on the bridge, arms crossed, eyes fixed on the main screen. The stars outside didn't seem to move, but she knew the ship was. Spectre had turned the Revenant slowly, making it face the path the enemy reinforcements would likely come from. She could feel it, this strange quiet before the storm. They heard us, she said quietly. Yes, Spectre replied. Interceptors are en route. Estimated arrival, 41 minutes. Enough time. Barely. Alara walked across the bridge, each footstep echoing on the cold floor. Her breath was still visible in the air. The heat wasn't fully stable yet. You said the Ghost Protocol is ready. It is, Spectre confirmed. But it cannot be launched from here. The signal requires proximity, within 5 kilometers of a live Vroth fleet node. Which means we'll need to let them get close. Yes, Captain. Alara's jaw tightened. Then we'll make it count. She stared at the remains of the Vroth salvage cruiser on the screen. Smoke drifted from its engine core. Most of its systems were dead, but its emergency beacons were still pulsing. Any movement on that ship? No, Spectre answered. They've sealed their bulkheads and gone silent. Alara turned away. She didn't need to waste time on them. The real threat was on its way. She made her way to the lower deck. Everything looked older down here. Dusty, scratched, and cold. Storage lockers lined the walls. One was marked with her name. She opened it. Inside were her old sidearm, a photo of her squad, and a data chip marked Gravewake, Last Resort. She stared at the chip for a moment before slotting it into a nearby panel. Spectre, she said. Begin syncing this with the Ghost Protocol. I want both weapons ready, just in case. Understood. As the systems buzzed to life, she sat beside the panel and looked at the photo. 7 people stood smiling. 4 were gone before the Revenant ever launched. 2 more died in their last mission. That left her. Alara, the last. She rubbed her eyes and stood up. No time for memories. Not now. Back on the bridge, Spectre gave another update. Enemy interceptors have increased speed. Estimated arrival, 27 minutes. They're eager. They believe you are bluffing. Alara smiled faintly. Let's prove them wrong. Spectre suddenly paused. Captain, there is something else. What? A signal. Not Vroth. It came just after you sent your message. Who is it? I don't know. It's using an old Earth encryption but heavily modified. Alara sat up straighter. Decrypt it. Attempting now. The screen filled with a swirl of symbols. Then finally, a voice came through. It was garbled at first, then cleared. To any surviving human forces, we heard your signal. If you're real, if you're still fighting, you are not alone. Alara stared at the screen, her heart racing. Repeat, the voice said. This is the Free Archon Coalition. We owe Earth a debt. You helped us when the Vroth attacked our moons. If you still stand, we stand with you. Alara leaned forward. Spectre, she said, her voice quiet. Is this real? Signal confirmed. Origin, Archon system. Range, 14 light-years. Message sent via pulse relay. They received your transmission 6 hours ago. She sat back in her chair. Her hands were shaking. After all this time, someone remembered. Someone answered. Send them coordinates, she said. Tell them I'm still here, and tell them the Revenant fights tonight. Message sent, Spectre confirmed. Alara stood and walked to the center of the bridge. Time until Vroth interceptors arrive? 19 minutes. She nodded. Then let's get ready. Red warning lights blinked to life. The Revenant's hull began shifting. Armor plates sliding, weapons unlocking from hidden bays, engines humming softly. The ghost ship was waking up. Fully, she stared out into space. In the distance, the first flicker of movement appeared on the screen, tiny shapes, too fast to be debris. Vroth interceptors. Sleek, deadly. They were coming. Spectre, she said. Run combat simulation. Feed data to the ghost protocol. Let's teach them what a human ghost ship can really do. Simulation online. Predicting engagement zone. Calculating virus injection points. Alara smiled, cold and fierce. They thought the Revenant was just a derelict. They thought humanity was a memory. They were wrong. The Vroth ships closed in. Alara leaned forward in her chair and whispered, Let them come. The Vroth ships came fast, cutting through the black of space like silver blades. There were 5 of them, interceptors. Small, quick, armed with plasma lances that could burn through a destroyer's hull in seconds. Alara stood calmly on the bridge of the Revenant, watching them get closer. The air inside the ship was still cold, but the systems hummed louder now, the ship coming fully alive for the first time in decades. They're scanning us, Spectre said. Long-range sensors only. They haven't identified us yet. Good, Alara replied. Let them think we're just a drifting wreck. We'll give them a surprise. Outside, the Vroth ship slowed. One of them turned its lights on, shining it across the Revenant's hull. The beams passed over faded letters, UNSC, burned into the ship's metal like scars. A second Vroth ship sent out a focused ping, bouncing signals off the Revenant's armor. They're confused, Spectre said. They expected a trap. But they see no weapons hot, no shield signatures, no heat. Let's keep it that way, Alara said. At least for now. The enemy ships split up, surrounding the Revenant like a pack of wolves circling a wounded animal. They're locking weapons, Spectre warned. Let them. Not yet. A warning light blinked red. Incoming comms, Spectre said. Put it through, Alara ordered. The screen flickered to life, and a Vroth commander appeared. The skin was pale blue, armor dull black with red markings. Its face was long and flat, with narrow eyes and a sneer that seemed permanent. This is Commander Threx of the Vroth Dominion. You are trespassing in restricted space. Identify yourself or be destroyed. Alara leaned toward the console. Captain Alara Ruiz, UNSC Revenant. And last I checked, Vroth didn't own the stars. The alien tilted its head. Impossible. Humanity is extinct. She smiled coldly. That's what you get for believing your own lies. Threx hissed. Surrender your ship. We will tear it apart and see what secrets your dead race left behind. You're welcome to try, Alara said. But just so you know, this ghost bites. She cut the transmission. Spectre. Target lock. Locked. Ghost protocol synced. But we must be within 5 kilometers for the injection to begin. How far now? 7 kilometers. They're still drifting closer. Alara clenched her fists. Come on, take the bait. Pause. They're charging weapons, Spectre said. Preparing to fire. Alara stood. Shields up. Return fire, only enough to spook them. The Revenant's weapons roared to life. Beams of green and white light shot out, slamming into one of the interceptor's wings. Spun away, venting smoke, but didn't explode. The rest pulled back in a rush. Now they believe we're a threat, Spectre said. Good, Alara replied. Time for them to learn just how much. 2 Vroth ships came in fast, trying to flank her ship. The others kept their distance, watching, waiting. Spectre, give them a little more heat. Missiles launched from hidden compartments on the Revenant's hull. They split mid-flight, turning into smaller projectiles that flashed and shimmered, throwing off the Vroth's targeting systems. One enemy interceptor swerved too late and took a hit straight to the engines. It didn't explode, but it went dark, tumbling in space. For left, Alara said. We are now within 5 kilometers of the nearest ship, Spectre reported. Beginning Ghost Protocol injection. Alara watched the screen. It showed a slow-moving data wave, invisible to normal sensors, crawling through space like a shadow. It slipped through the Vroth ship's comm relay like a whisper. Connection stable, Spectre said. Infection spreading. One of the Vroth ships suddenly stopped firing. Its lights dimmed. Its engines sputtered. The others hesitated. What's happening to them? Spectre asked aloud, mocking the enemy's confusion. Alara grinned. They're meeting the ghosts of Earth. Within seconds, the first ship turned on its ally. Ghost protocol spreading faster than expected, Spectre said. Infection jumping via tight beam links. 3 ships compromised. 4th in progress. Alara leaned back. Beautiful. Suddenly, the Vroth commander returned on the comms. His face was pale with fear now. What have you done? Our systems, our ships, they're not responding. Alara stepped forward. You stole our tech. You used it to destroy our world. Now it's taking you apart, bit by bit. Threx screamed something in his native tongue, but the signal cut out. The last interceptor began spinning, then exploded without warning. Silence. Status, Alara asked. All enemy ships disabled or destroyed, Spectre replied. Ghost Protocol remains active, ready to expand to larger targets. Alara looked out the window, her face hard and steady. Then let's find something bigger. The battle was over. The space around the Revenant was quiet again, filled only with the drifting wreckage of Vroth interceptors. Some burned. Some floated lifeless. One turned in slow circles, its engines dead, lights gone. Captain Alara Ruiz stood in the middle of the bridge, watching it all with steady eyes. Her hands rested on the back of her chair, but her mind was racing. They had won, but it was only the beginning. Spectre, she said, still staring at the screen. How far did the Ghost Protocol spread? It reached all 5 interceptors, the AI replied. It is now stored in their systems. If any of their ships return to a Vroth carrier, the virus will piggyback on the connection and expand. Alara nodded. Then we just gave them a ticking time bomb. Yes, Captain, Spectre said. But they won't know it until it's too late. She finally sat down, letting the tension ease just a little from her shoulders. Her body still ached from cryosleep, and her fingers were cold. But the fire inside her kept her sharp, focused. Any response from the Free Archon Coalition? She asked. Message received, Spectre said. They are dispatching scouts to confirm our signal. Estimated arrival, 3 hours. That was good news, but it didn't help them now. We need to disappear, Alara said. The Vroth will be looking for us. Agreed, Spectre replied. Activating stealth protocol. The ship's lights dimmed slightly as the system powered down unnecessary outputs. The Revenant grew darker, quieter. Its engines shifted into a low-power drift. Alara stood and walked to the side panel near the window. She pulled down an old case marked Black Ops Tools. Inside were emergency transponders, decoy beacons, and something that looked like a tiny silver marble. She picked it up. "Still works?" she asked. Spectre replied, "Yes, decoy orb functional. It will mimic our signature and launch toward any direction you choose." She held it up, thinking, "Send it west. Away from us. Let the Vroth chase shadows." She tossed the orb into the launcher, and moments later it fired off into the void, glowing faintly. "Decoy deployed," Spectre confirmed. Alara turned back toward the main display. "Now, let's talk about the big one," Spectre answered without delay. "You're referring to the Dominion Relay Hub?" "That's the one," Alara said. "How close is it?" 5 light hours from our position," Spectre said. "It is a major comms hub and refueling station. Minimal defenses. High-level network access." Alara smiled. "Perfect. If the Ghost Protocol reaches the relay," Spectre continued, "it will spread to every connected system. Thousands of ships. Dozens of colonies. Then that's our next target," Alara said. A silence passed. Then Spectre asked something it rarely did. "Captain, are you sure?" She paused. "About what?" "If we do this," the AI said, "we'll bring down their entire network, their fleet coordination, their supply lines, their empire. It will collapse." Alara looked at the stars. "That's the idea. There will be chaos, civil wars, rebellions. Innocents may suffer." She thought about that, then nodded slowly. "Then we guide the chaos. With allies. With the truth. We don't want revenge, Spectre. We want change." The AI went quiet. Then, "Understood, Captain. Plotting course to Relay Hub. Estimated arrival in 6 hours." "Good," she said. "Wake me if anything moves. I'm going to write something." She walked to her quarters, small and cold, but still functional. She sat at the desk and pulled up the message system. She began to write. "To all free worlds. To all the scattered and hunted. To anyone who remembers the name Earth." She paused, then typed, "We are not dead. We are not finished. The Empire thought we were gone. They were wrong. This is the UNSC Revenant. We're not fighting for survival anymore. We're fighting for everyone they stepped on. Join us." She hit send. The message would bounce through hidden channels, across old satellites, along forgotten trade paths. She didn't know who would hear it, but someone would. Hours passed. The Revenant drifted quietly, like a shadow. Then Spectre spoke again. "Captain incoming." She stood instantly. "What is it?" 2 signals. 1 Vroth carrier ship. 1 Archon scout ship. She narrowed her eyes. "Do they see each other?" "Not yet." "Then let's make sure the right one finds us first." She sat in the command chair again. The war wasn't over. It was just beginning. The Vroth carrier loomed on the edge of long-range sensors. It was massive, 10 times the size of the Revenant and shaped like a long spear with rings of weapons circling its middle. It wasn't just a ship. It was a floating city, with hundreds of crew, multiple hangars, and enough firepower to flatten a moon. Alara stared at the display, her fingers curling around the armrest of her chair. "Distance?" she asked. 2 hours until full sensor range, Spectre replied. "They haven't seen us yet." "And the Archon scout?" "Closer. 37 minutes away." Alara nodded. "Then we make contact with the Archons first. They get here, we dock, we talk. We're not fighting alone this time." She stood up and crossed to the comms panel. Her breath still fogged in the cold air. The ship's heaters were running, but the Revenant was old. It took time to warm up completely. "Open a channel to the Archon ship," she said. "Channel open," Spectre confirmed. A soft chime sounded as the call went out. Static buzzed for a few seconds, then cleared. A voice came through, smooth, calm, but firm. "This is Scout Vessel Talon of the Free Archon Coalition. Identify." Alara leaned in. "This is Captain Alara Ruiz, UNSC Revenant. Human origin. Earth." There was silence on the other end. Then, the voice returned, slower now. "Human, we heard rumors. But Earth has been silent for decades." "Not anymore," Alara said. We're back. And we're not alone. Another pause. Then, permission to approach? Granted. Be advised, a Vroth carrier is inbound. I need you docked and shielded before they spot us. Understood. Adjusting course. The signal closed. Alara turned to Spectre. Any reaction from the Vroth? None yet. They appear unaware of the scout's presence. Let's keep it that way, Alara said. Begin jamming long-range scans, but softly. I don't want to trigger alarms. As Spectre carried out her orders, Alara stood at the window and watched the stars. Somewhere out there, more free worlds were listening. Maybe scared, maybe waiting, and maybe ready. Time passed quickly. The Archon ship appeared on visual sensors first. A sleek, silver craft shaped like a blade. No weapons visible, but Alara knew better. The Archons believed in precision over brute force, and their ships, while small, packed a punch. The Talon slowed as it neared the Revenant, then gently aligned for docking. Docking clamps engaged, Spectre said. Airlock pressurized. 2 life signs approaching. Alara moved to meet them. The airlock hissed open. A rush of slightly warmer air met her, followed by 2 tall Archons in thin armor. Their skin was a light copper tone, and their large black eyes blinked slowly, like they were seeing her for the first time. One of them stepped forward and bowed slightly. I am Commander Vale of the Talon, and I believe I owe your people a great debt. Alara nodded. Let's make it count. They walked to the bridge together. As they did, Vale looked around at the Revenant's aged walls, the scuffed metal, the flickering lights. You've kept this ship alive a long time. Not just the ship, Alara said. The mission. Back on the bridge, Spectre greeted them with a soft pulse of light. Commander Vale, the AI said. I've uploaded a summary of our recent encounter with Vroth interceptors and our ghost protocol. Vale studied the data quickly. You infected 5 ships. If any of them reconnect to the main network, the virus will spread, Alara said. That's the plan. And the carrier? Vale asked. Alara tapped a few keys. The image of the approaching Vroth ship appeared on the screen. Big, slow, proud, she said. If we get close enough, the ghost can spread from us to them. But we'll need help. Vale turned to her. You want to board it? Not directly, Alara said. But we can let them think they've caught us. Then while they try to take us apart, we feed them the ghost. Vale gave a slow nod. Risky, but bold. Human standard, Alara said with a faint grin. Spectre interrupted. Warning. Vroth carrier is scanning nearby sectors. They will find us within 20 minutes. Alara looked at Vale. We make our stand now, she said. Or we run and let them tighten their grip. Vale didn't hesitate. Then let's stand. Alara returned to her chair. Spectre, prepare decoys. Begin shield modulation. Let them see just enough to come chasing. Outside the window, the stars still glittered quietly. But war was coming. And this time, the Revenant wasn't alone. The Vroth carrier found them. It dropped out of slipspace like a falling star, its engines glowing bright and angry. Hundreds of lights flickered across its hull, and a long line of escort drones followed in tight formation. The carrier was not here to talk. They've locked onto us, Spectre said calmly. Weapons are armed. They are ordering our surrender. Alara sat forward in the command chair, her eyes locked on the screen. The giant ship looked like a predator waiting to strike. Send a reply, she said. Simple and clear. Spectre opened the channel. Alara spoke. This is Captain Alara Ruiz of the UNSC Revenant. Humanity lives. And we remember. She ended the transmission before the Vroth could answer. Status on the Archons? She asked. Commander Vale is in position, Spectre said. They're circling behind the carrier. Undetected. Alara took a slow breath. Good. Begin Phase 1. Activating decoy signal. Outside, the Revenant's hull shimmered and flickered. It looked like systems were failing, shields flickering, engine heat spiking. To the Vroth, it must have looked like a desperate ship about to collapse. Hook baited, Alara said softly. The carrier moved forward, slow and confident. It launched grappling drones toward the Revenant. Magnetic claws meant to pull the ship in for boarding, just like Alara wanted. Spectre, she said. Start the Ghost. A pulse of invisible energy flowed from the Revenant, reaching out like a whisper. It passed through the grappling drones into their systems and followed the cables back to the carrier. Initial contact made, Spectre said. Infection has begun. The Vroth, still thinking they had the upper hand, began transmitting boarding orders. Then things went wrong for them. The carrier's lights flickered. Its drone formation broke. Spectre, Alara asked. Ghost protocol spreading. System overrides beginning. I now have partial access to carrier subsystems. On the screen, the carrier started to turn. Too sharply, too fast. It clipped one of its own drones, then fired a blast from one of its side cannons straight into space. Random targeting, Spectre reported. Their AI is fighting me, but I am winning. Veil, Alara said. Now, the Talon, the Archon scout ship, darted from behind a cluster of debris and shot forward. It fired 2 sharp bursts at the carrier's engines, not to destroy, but to confuse. The Vroth crew panicked. They turned weapons away from the Revenant, targeting the Archons instead. That's when Spectre hit them with the second wave. Full control achieved, the AI said. Initiating data flood. The carrier's systems began unlocking, file by file. Security logs, war reports, secret experiments, stolen technologies. Every lie, every cover-up, every cruel trick the Vroth Empire had hidden was now being dumped into their own systems, played on their own screens. They're seeing the truth, Spectre said. Across the entire ship. On the main screen, the Vroth commander appeared. His face twisted with confusion and rage. What is this? Shut it down. Shut it. The screen cut out. All internal communications have failed, Spectre said. Ghost protocol now self-sustaining. It has begun spreading through the fleet network. Alara leaned back in her chair, exhausted but smiling. Broadcast to all ships, she said. All systems. Vroth, allies, anyone still listening. Spectre opened the channel. Alara stood. This is Captain Alara Ruiz of the Revenant. The Vroth Empire built itself on lies and stolen power. Old Earth colonies, former allies, resistance fleets. They are all waking up, and they want to talk. Alara smiled. Then let's talk. Later, she stood in the quiet hallway of the Revenant, looking out a small window. Stars stretched forever, and for the first time in years, she felt like they weren't just reminders of loss. They were paths forward. The door opened behind her. Commander Vale stepped in. Your message. It worked. The galaxy is listening. Alara turned. Then it's time to build something better. He nodded. Together. As they looked out into space, the wreckage of the old empire floated in the distance, and behind it light. A new beginning. The ghost ship had done more than survive. It had started a revolution.